Hey, welcome to your forecast for the Aries New Moon coming up on April 5th, 2019. I'm Adrian DeCoates here with Madeline DeCoates. Welcome, Madeline.
Hi, everybody.
Ready to talk about the April forecast, April New Moon?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Awesome. Well, I thought we should start out by just touching on the numerology for April. With the beginning of the month, we're changing to a new personal month, or not personal, universal rather.
Personal and the universal, they're one and the same in some context.
Right. So the month number has changed for April, and it's a 7 month because we're in the 2019 3 universal year. You add the 3 to the 4 for April, giving you the 7. Of course, 2019 being a 3 year, it brings in that energy of childlike creativity. 3 is the child number. It's about self-expression. It's about creativity in a playful, childlike way. So that's kind of the theme for the whole year. And then with the 7 being activated in April, 7 in numerology sounds kind of funny, but it looks like a lightning strike. And 7's really the hermit number. It's really about how when you are by yourself, maybe in nature or somewhere where you can reflect and be alone, you receive these flashes of insights, and that's where the lightning comes in. So talk a little bit about how I see that theme being activated with Aries New Moon, but just wanted to set the stage a little bit for April, numerologically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And Madeline, did you have anything you want to share about April general themes?
Well, just to add on to the 7 numerology, when you said the flashes of insight in nature, it really made me think about Uranus and Taurus.
Yeah.
Flashes of insight
Mm-hmm.
in nature.
Yes, so maybe it will activate some of that Uranus and Taurus energy.
Yeah, I would love for that to be the case. I'm really looking to add more nature time into my schedule.
It's good for spring too. The weather here in Portland literally now starting to get a little nicer finally. So
yeah,
good time for that.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, and then we're of course still in the Mercury retrograde energy a little bit at the beginning of the month, even though we had Mercury station direct on March 28th. I feel like we're not really going to get out of that energy until Mercury leaves Pisces, which will be mid-month in April. But I think this new moon is going to represent a big shift in that energy. And so one thing we wanted to talk about is April 2nd, leading up to that new moon. We've got the Mercury conjunct Neptune for the third and final time of this Mercury retrograde season. Literally, that's where Mercury is right around where it's stationed direct, and now meeting Neptune again for the third time. And so it's been a really big theme over the past month, this dance that Mercury's been doing in the sky with Neptune and that watery territory of Pisces. And
so watery.
So watery.
So watery.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is like an important moment right here at this is the Mercury retrograde. Technically it's over. Mercury's gonna have this final meeting with Neptune. It's the third time, so I feel like April 2nd could be a good day of insight. That 7 lightning strike may get activated. There may be some real understanding of what the heck has been going on for the past few weeks with this Mercury retrograde in Pisces, so I think that's a good one to pay attention to. Give yourself that alone time so you can get those 7 insights. Could be a good use of that day.
Totally. And do we have the dates for the first 2 conjunctions with Neptune? It was basically like in Pisces season, like March 5th, 6th is when March 5th is when Mercury stationed retrograde.
Yeah.
So that was not conjunct Neptune. They must have hit Neptune in February.
It was February is the first one, I think, and then literally just a few days ago from when we're filming this, I think maybe that was like the 23rd or the 24th of March.
Sunday the 24th. And the first one was February 18th.
Okay.
The same day as the sun ingressed into Pisces. That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so there may be that if you remember those dates, there may be a continuation of a theme. And since Mercury has been in the same sign with Pisces throughout the past couple of months, which is an unusual long time for Mercury to be in one sign for about 2 months. Usually it's only there for maybe a few weeks or something. And so this is Mercury's on its way out finally. It's meeting Neptune one more time. And so Neptune is the ruler of Pisces in modern astrology, one of the rulers, you could say. And so, really, it's helping you get in touch with Neptune's um, mission in Pisces, I guess you could say, which would be about a lot of different things potentially. What are your thoughts about Neptune's mission? It's there. It's like right in the middle of the sign. It's going to be there for many years more. It's already been there for a while. Definitely healing is a part of it. Many forms of healing.
Yeah, there's if Neptune is our universal collective unconscious, the even like the feeling of God energy or the spirit that animates all things, if Neptune represents that, and then Pisces is the sign of universal compassion and transcending the body, then it's a little bit of a double down theme. And I feel like since Neptune takes so many years to go through a sign, it's don't remember off the top of my head how long it's in Pisces, but it's about 15 years, maybe longer, and we're in the middle of this process of the world, that humanity has been focused on rekindling a sense of our global connection. And we can certainly see the rise of astrology in the past couple of years as being a bit indicative of that. The younger generations, like the Pluto and Sagittarius folks, it just seems like just about every one of them is familiar with astrology, which could be part of their coming of age in Neptune and Pisces. So this has been, like an interesting Mercury trip, trying to synthesize maybe with our own minds what we're feeling spiritually.
Yeah, because those outer planets, their transits through signs are so long and take so many years that it is a real long-term thing or shift or activation that's going on. And so when you have a faster moving planet like Mercury moving through that sign, it gives you the chance to really maybe get a clearer idea of this larger pattern that's been happening. And then you can look in whatever area of your life that would be where Neptune has been transiting for many years and will be transiting for several more years. And the Mercury retrograde is definitely an opportunity to reflect on that, maybe get a little confused about it, and then perhaps have some insights and some clarity about it. And then with this April 2nd meeting, hopefully get a clearer crystallization of what the heck has been going on in there, because Mercury has been very uncomfortable as well, being in the watery, vague, transcendental, spiritual
we mentioned in our last recording that that's Mercury's fall and its detriment if you're looking at essential dignities. So it's a crazy place for the planet that wants to move quickly and rationalize and communicate in a clear and direct manner, to be in the sign where nothing necessarily moves quickly and everything is communicated in signs and symbols and intuitive feelings.
Yeah, so getting to our new moon, that's kind of setting the stage for the energy that's been in play for the past weeks, past month or two. That has really been the theme. And as we get closer to this new moon, the energy starts to shift. The next thing that we want to touch on leading up to the new moon is the day before, April 4th. There is the South Node conjunct Pluto. And of course, this is a larger theme as well, with Pluto being in Capricorn for a pretty long time. Saturn is there too. Everyone's very interested to see what's happening in the world as Saturn and Pluto get closer and closer to being in a exact conjunction in January of next year. And the South Node represents what we're moving away from collectively, the Capricorn qualities that we are releasing trauma around, experiencing healing through. And this meeting of Pluto with that South Node of what we're releasing is potentially a very powerful moment of transformation or change or insight. And it's happening on
Should we talk about some of the Capricorn qualities that we might be
Yeah,
releasing
go
or
for it.
transforming?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
I was hoping that you would.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Well, Pluto is transforming society is one thing that we could say about the Capricorn Pluto era that we've been in since 2008. Since Capricorn is the sign of wanting to hold up the collective and support the resources of if you think of Capricorn as being someone like looking after their tribe or their flock or their family even, wants to make sure that everybody's okay and everybody has what they need and will take it upon itself to feel responsible for that. So in terms of society as a whole, what I've been thinking, and I've heard this from a lot of other astrologers, is that Pluto's digging up what doesn't work about our societal structures and just doing what it needs to do to take out what's not working anymore to make room for something like a global world structure that does support everyone and meet everyone's needs with integrity. So with the South Node coming up to Pluto at this point in time, which it hasn't since Pluto has been in Capricorn the past 10, 11 years, I feel like it is a critical moment of releasing the negative aspects of the Capricornian structures that exist in our world right now. They're really getting stirred up.
I think on a personal level too, I was thinking about the difference between Aries and Capricorn, because this Aries new moon is actually squaring the nodal axis, the North Node in Cancer and the South Node in Capricorn, and Saturn and Pluto as well. And the difference, the way I see it is, or one of the differences, Aries is a sign that is very concerned with what it individually desires and wants to follow what it wants and just go for it and just do it. It's got that springtime, very alive, active, initiating energy. Whereas Capricorn is more about, what does society want from me? How can I be a outstanding member of society? How can I meet other people's expectations and contribute to society as well? And so there is that potential conflict between what perhaps we personally ourselves want and what we think society wants from us, or what we think we should be in society, things like that. And so that could perhaps be a dynamic that comes to a head at this new moon, because we have this Aries energy that's really inspiring us to go for what we want. The sun is exalted in Aries, so the sun, our sense of our individuality and how we want to express it in the world is strong right now, but yet we've got this also strong emphasis in the Capricorn energy, which is about who we are in society, and then also maybe some of those societal structures, like you were saying, that may seem counter to who we want to be as an individual in our Aries part of our chart, or that Aries qualities that we have.
Yeah, I'm thinking with the square from Saturn, especially at the Aries new moon, there's just thinking about the new moon in Aries in general, there's a lot of energy to want to express ourselves now, like freely and authentically. We got some energy coming for getting a new project off the ground. We didn't mention, but Mars will be moving into Gemini on the 30th of March. So by the time of this new moon, we'll have that energy has already started building, which is a big change from Mars and Taurus.
Yeah,
throughout
Mars, the ruler of this new moon. It's going to be in Gemini.
Yeah. So very, if you're feeling very sleepy all of March, like I was, in theory, that should be changing in April. And with the ruler of the new moon, Mars, being in the sign of communication and thinking,
I've got a Gemini Mars, so it's very fast moving. It's a little spastic, a little all over the place, but it's definitely can be exciting.
Yeah. So I can imagine that this new moon being like, oh, finally Mercury's direct, it's not so Piscean anymore. I've got ideas. I want to start projects, which is great. but Saturn is definitely going to be offering an opportunity to put up, an obstacle for us to examine before we start rushing forward with the new energy coming in.
Yeah, Saturn in Capricorn is very much about the long game.
Yeah.
And Aries is more about what can I do right now, and I just want to do it as quickly as possible and just go for what I want and just not really take as much time to plan or strategize or really refine something. So that's part of that tension
time and time again
with the square between those two that's happening with this new moon. As a counterpoint to that, or kind of strengthening the new moon Aries energy, we've got Jupiter trining the Jupiter energy, which is also in fire in Sagittarius, and Jupiter is still direct for a few more days. It's going to turn retrograde on the 10th. And I feel like that is more in harmony with the Sun and Aries purpose than the Capricorn Saturn for sure.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that's given you the confidence that you do need to break new ground with the Aries new moon. And if you can find a way to, bring both perspectives to the table of the new thing that you want to create that you're excited about with this Aries spring initiatory energy, where you felt, like you had to slow down last month and really reflect on things, or things were just confusing, or you didn't quite know how to move forward. It's like around the time of this new moon, there may be this shift where you're ready to move forward quickly, but if you can also take into account that Saturn energy and that Saturn perspective of still playing the long game and thinking about what you can do that gives you a good fresh start, but also takes into account what your long-term plan is and how you can really take a longer view with things, as well as just the initial, like, what can you do right away that gives you what you want, then I think that can be the most successful approach for this new moon.
Totally. It's not your typical Aries season. It's definitely got this, Saturn and Pluto looking at it and trying to contain it and making sure that you're thinking about how can you increase your own confidence in yourself in this different way, because Aries can have a lot of confidence just because it's like, I exist, I'm going to do things, so it doesn't really think about it. But like the Capricornian kind of confidence comes from proving to yourself over the long run with experience that you've actually accomplished something. Yeah, you have something tangible to show for your efforts. So it's good to think about structuring your new moon intentions in some way. Maybe like I'm thinking about how I want to start working out more. Well, I can't just be the Aries that I usually am and be like, oh, I'm gonna go run today. So it looks like I'm all better. I'm working out now. It's like, I probably need to like make some kind of a commitment, sign up for a gym, or keep a weekly calendar that I'm checking off, some kind of structured plan.
Not just like run 10 miles if you've only ever run maybe 1 mile and you're just like, I'm going to run a marathon now. And then you end up, twisting an ankle or something like that. It's like, take it slow and steady, build a little bit at a time, because the Aries energy might make you want to just jump in and do a lot really quickly. But you might have to pace yourself with the Saturn in Capricorn.
And then I want to add too, I noticed in the chart for the new moon that behind the scenes, like in conjunct the new moon situation in Pisces, we still will have Venus at 11 degrees, Neptune at 17, and Mercury at 18. So those are
Pisces.
In Pisces. So that's pretty much like 30 degrees away from the new moon at 15 in Aries. So I feel like they're adding this, kind of like that reflection point of like, what have I been going through in the past month or two with the Pisces and the Mercury retrograde season.
Yeah, it's nice to have Venus in there now too.
Yeah. And that was, what day did Venus move into Pisces?
I think it's March 27th that Venus moves into Pisces, and that's really beautiful because Venus is exalted in Pisces. She likes being there, so we've got both of our benefics in signs that they really like being in, Jupiter in Sag and Venus in Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to really help out with the Mercury retrograde aftermath as well, of bringing some of the Venusian sweetness and appreciation and self-care and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really going to be positive.
Yeah, I was thinking it's if you've been frustrated, then now you get to kind of be like, oh, it was all, I learned something in the end.
Yeah, she might help with that emotional integration. The other thing about the new moon, we talked about squaring the south node, everything that's going on there. And the north node, of course, is part of that dynamic. So when you're setting your new moon intentions, you're thinking about the long game as well as what immediate good results you can get. You can also think about that Cancer north node and what that's really about, which is how are things resonating with you emotionally? How are you nurturing your inner child? That's again that 3-year energy that's in play for the entire 2019. It's really the numerology and astrology themes work together about nurturing your inner child is how I would sum it up. And the Cancer North Node is about your close relationships and your network of what helps you feel emotionally secure, being the people that you have around you, the environment you're in, food you eat, ways that you nurture yourself. And so since that's where the north node is, it's what we're moving toward, it's what we're developing into. And so that's another thing to consider as a counterpoint to the Aries, which could cause you to want to rush into something without maybe fully checking into how it resonates with you emotionally, or feeling pressured to do something and just like get a project off the ground when maybe like really what you want to do is take it a little more slower and make it a little more comfortable for yourself to honor that Cancer part of yourself. So that's another thing that I think will be good to consider this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if this is helpful, but it makes me think that in this Aries New Moon energy, if you're looking to, I don't know, like vet your decision or your new project, maybe turn to either a friend or like just some sort of mother figure, whether it's your own mother or a friend that you really trust or that you feel emotionally supports you, and like somebody who makes you feel emotionally comfortable, and share what's coming up for you right now and really get that like kind of loving, nurturing feedback, and that will help move away from that, again, that Capricorn South Node, which is like putting everything on your shoulders and bearing the whole weight of the world.
That's a
little bit.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, anything else we want to say about this new moon in Aries, kind of up on the 5th?
Did you want to mention that it's a 6 in numerology? 15
it's
degrees?
happening at the 15 degrees. One thing I was thinking about is it's happening on the 5th, and it really is number 5 in numerology. It looks like a pivot point. Is that the way a 5 would be, or is it like this?
I think you had it right the first time.
First time.
Earlier
yeah,
I made a
anyway.
7. I was like, wait, I think it's that.
So the 5 is like a pivot.
To practice our mirrored hand motions.
So, and it represents a pivot in energy. 5 is the number of change and variety, and it shakes things up. And this is a time when the energy does really get shifted off of that Pisces, Mercury and Pisces, that whole theme, watery, kind of slower, more yin type of energy, and things start to get a lot more yang again. And so I think it's significant. It's happening on the 5th. And then, yeah, like you said, it's happening at 15 degrees. We've had a number of new moons happening at 15 degrees right smack in the middle of the sign. But the other thing about the number 5 that I wanted to mention that I thought was interesting is the day before, we have that Pluto South Node conjunction at 23 degrees, which kind of begins the new moon shift or activation, I think. And that's also a 5 because 23, 2 plus 3 is 5.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a real indication that maybe that's connected to what's happening the next day and that change of the 5 that's getting activated.
Yeah, on the Pluto South Node conjunction again, I just glancing at my note, the highlight that I had written for that is just trust that our transformation is unfolding, even though a lot's going on right now and everybody wants the world to be better, and sometimes it looks like we're just kind of stagnating. Personally, the more that we can uncover our own deep blocks and release the things that are holding us back from becoming our fully authentic, powerful selves, or powerful individuals like Aries, the better that we'll be able to contribute towards global transformation.
Yeah, I think that Pluto represents our sense of our own empowerment, and having the South Node there is really a powerful indicator that right before that Aries New Moon happens and you're going to move forward with a lot of strength towards what you want, you can first let go of anything that seems to be standing in the way of your sense of your own power. That day before, maybe there will be insights that happen because it is the South Node of what you're letting go of. And it's Pluto, which is your power to transform and your power, your sense of empowerment, that perhaps there will be insights collectively or individually about how you have maybe been holding yourself back from fully embracing your power, or maybe you come into a new sense of your power, something around that, which I think would be really fortunate to happen before that new moon so that you can best take advantage of that energy the next day.
Totally. And I just want to remind folks who are watching that if you haven't ever drawn up your natal chart, or if you've never gotten a professional astrology reading, do that now so that you can know which houses these events are happening in for you. If you don't know where Capricorn is in your chart, which is based on your rising sign, or you don't know where Aries is.
It is your rising sign.
Yeah, Capricorn is my rising sign. Which, just to give an example, that Pluto transformation that's been occurring is, since it's in my rising sign, it's been happening in my first house, which is all about just base identity, expression, and who I operate as in the world. And anybody who knows me will know that over the past decade, I have been intensely transforming that on an ongoing basis, and it's not always been easy, but it's getting to a very exciting point here towards the end of the transit. And just again, personally, it's starting to get towards my actual ascendant degree, so I'm ready, Pluto.
Yeah. Yeah, Capricorn is my fourth house, and Pluto first went into Capricorn in 2008. So my fourth house, that's your home and who you are when no one's looking at you, like who you are on the inside and where you find your sense of home internally, and then also, yeah, your literal home. And so if I'm a Capricorn in my home, 2008, when it happened, was when I started my home-based business. And so that's been part of my journey with it. And it's really interesting to be aware of that, and then to follow these transits like Madeline was saying, and see how that can be reflected in what's happening in the sky. And it helps to confirm for me what I'm feeling intuitively, like focusing on. It helps me kind of affirm what my intuition is telling me, and it's a comfort in that way, definitely. So yeah, get your chart cast if you haven't, or look into that part. But we should probably wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up.
We've said all we can say for now.
If you have any questions, put them in the comments.
Yeah, totally.
And we'll address them.
I'm gonna link a few articles too in the show more section below the video. I've written a couple articles about some of the main themes for 2019. So I think I've done so far the 3 universal year, the numerology theme, Jupiter in Sagittarius. I'm going to have the Capricorn South Node, Cancer North Node. So that should be down there as well. And then
it's great.
We'll be back for the full moon too.
Yeah.
In a few weeks.
Which will include a lot of outer planet retrogrades, and the second full moon in Libra.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Doesn't happen very often.
It's true. We've got another Libra full moon coming up, so that'll be fun to talk about.
Special year.
Sweet. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Hope you have a great Aries new moon, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, be careful. Wear, shin guards.
Aries is dangerous.
This is the Aries Capricorn.
The square.
The square. Yeah, like have adventures, but wear your protective gear.
Got it.
So we can sum it up.
All right.
All right, bye.